You all right there?
Just getting comfortable.
Ready to go?
Nope.
Get comfortable? All right, well.
You're starting.
We're going anyways.
Just trying to get comfortable.
Something a little different today.
Mm-hmm.
Just a glass of wine for you.
Thank you.
And
Glass of water.
a glass of water for me.
Nice.
I'm going rogue tonight, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Hope I don't have too much water. It's time to another Friday.
Another Friday.
I feel like this time I probably won't cough during the intro.
Maybe.
And we are back,
We're back.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to yet again another Drunken Parents podcast where Andrew and I sit down, have a drink or two, and talk about anything and everything. Sometimes parenting, sometimes not.
Yeah.
Maybe more often not. I don't know. Whatever happens. And that is basically it. This is our show.
Yeah.
So, glass of wine for you tonight. For me, just like I said, some water. Just taking it easy.
Taking it easy.
Kicking it back. Nothing wrong with that. Don't
cool.
have to do it every night, you know? Every night. Can't be Friday night. Or can it?
I wish it could be.
Was that?
I wish it could be.
I didn't hear you there. You're talking so low.
Sorry.
It's quiet.
Sorry.
Can't even hear you from here.
So we've already had an evening, eh?
Yeah, a very interesting evening.
Yeah.
A few power outages.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I'm actually really stuffed because we had like a movie day with
Family,
the kids.
yeah, family
just a
movie
family
night.
movie night
Yeah,
kind of thing, a
yeah.
Friday night kind of thing. And had some pizza. Well, not because it was delicious, but some homemade pizza and some orange pop.
Orange
Orange cold pop.
Cool pop?
And
No, but
watched Thor.
Ragnarok.
I mean, no, he didn't because
Totally
it's
didn't.
not.
It's
It's
not
not
out yet. What are you
out
talking
yet.
about?
I don't know how to get copies of videos that aren't even released yet.
What?
That is, we did not watch that movie.
Totally didn't watch it. No, it was something else.
But if we did, I would say that we probably really all enjoyed ourselves because it's a really funny movie.
It's hilarious.
As in previous episodes, we know that it's pretty much your favorite Marvel movie. I think.
Well, I
Next to
think
Iron Man. I think.
yeah.
know. Anyways,
It was
I know
good.
you really-
I
you
really
really
liked
enjoyed
it.
it.
I really enjoyed it.
It's a good movie.
It was a good
Kids
movie.
enjoyed themselves not watching that movie, watching a different movie, of course. Right? Wink,
Right.
wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, but the power kept going out there was so irritating.
Yeah.
But
well,
yeah.
because, hypothetically, if you were to download something,
Yeah.
you don't have your typical sorting through chapters like you do in a typical movie, just hypothetically. So
Yeah.
the power goes out and then it comes back like 2 minutes later. And then you spend like 10 minutes like very slowly fast forwarding it through to get to where you were before. You get there finally. Power goes out. Do it again. Power goes out. It's like,
It's like back to the 90s.
irritating. It's like, like those where you had to, you had to physically wind your tape
Rewind them.
and rewind and fast
Oh my
forward. And
gosh.
it's like,
So
And
funny.
you go back too far. You just stop, rewind, keep going, trying to
So
get to your.
irritating.
Yeah, those were the
spot.
days. Remember, you had to rewind. Please rewind.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you go to the movie store and you rent something and it wasn't rewound. It's
You're
like,
like,
don't.
Jerk.
Like number one, you should rewind. And number two, don't those places didn't they have like automatic rewind machines? Maybe the big stores did, like a Blockbuster.
So, yeah, but
Remember
the little
them?
ones, the little ones, I don't think they have them.
Yeah, because they're just like some corner store or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Oh, Blockbuster Video.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. I think I still have a movie of some. I think we had a couple movies of places that went out of business just because we'd forget to return a DVD or something like that.
I
thought, remember that place? Remember when we lived on the grad student townhouses?
Yeah.
There was that movie store right by the Sobeys, that plaza.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
right
yeah.
beside the
yeah.
Domino's Pizza,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, no, I remember that
there was a movie
It was
place.
like a no-name one.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just like, and I think I had one of their movies, and I think I went back to return it after a way long. It's like they're not there anymore. It's like okay, well,
Okay.
guess
That's
I'll
fine.
keep it.
That's fine.
Don't remember what movie was, but
Anyways.
doesn't matter. Anyways, that's
So-
just chitter chat.
So how was your
Whatever.
week? How was your week?
It's busy. I was busy, I guess. Working on the business, working
Yeah.
on the company.
What about goals? Like, do you feel like
I don't remember what.
you were about like
the goals were,
you
but
talked
I
a lot
did-
about like your schedule and
Yeah.
like
So did I? But I gave them. I think I gave up my schedule,
Yeah.
and it worked out pretty well actually for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to tweak things in terms of what exercises and when I do them and all that kind of stuff. So I did some of them and sometimes a little too much because I do stuff and then I just be like sweaty to get back into the chair, which is kind of uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
because like I'll try to do as many push-ups in 10 minutes as you can, right? It's like boom, pound through 120. It's like, oh man, just start sweating or whatever.
Of course.
So that was a little bit challenging, but it was good. It's good to move more. And I think I didn't like, obviously not right now because I ordered that pizza, but I think last time I weighed myself, I was down about, I think it was 0.6 kilograms or something like that.
That's
so
decent.
I don't know, it's a pound-ish,
Yeah.
a little over a pound.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
So,
that's
you know, slowly but surely.
slowly but surely. That's how we get it off.
Yeah, and things will pick it back up again because I'm planning on starting my videos again, my fitness type videos, but a little bit of a different spin on it this time. So,
Well, I think that really kept you accountable this summer. You
it
did a really good
and
job.
I loved
on
it too. It was just so much fun. And I was learning a lot in terms of video editing and processing and photography and all that stuff. And I want to get back into that because I love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember why I stopped, because it was too much for my back. Because it was constantly on the computer. So
yeah.
I'm going to have to balance that.
Yeah, of course.
It's all a big balancing act. I don't know.
Yep.
So, but yeah, overall, decent
Had a
week.
good
Decent week in terms of productivity. And yourself?
Oh yeah, I had a kick-ass week this week. Yeah, I felt like I'm finally like getting that consistency and like the workouts and the eating. I ate on point every day this week.
Every day this week?
Well, maybe not last night. That was your fault.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we had, I can't remember what we had. Oh, yeah. You had craft dinner. It's not that bad. Yeah, it's bad. But it's not that bad. It's not like...
It's one meal of the whole week.
It's crafted. Yeah, it's not like I'm trying to think of something really bad, like a whole cake or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
right?
so no, that's fine. I hurt my arm, like my forearm.
Yeah.
So that's really bothering
annoying.
me. Yeah. So because I can't do any upper body. So it's just been like lower body and core.
And I know what that's like,
week.
and I know we talked about that. And I'm saying like you gotta stop. You
I know.
can't do anything. And
Why I haven't now?
I know how hard that is because I've stopped everything for like months, and I'm just starting to get back into things now, and you know,
it's frustrating.
Especially when you're
really
so used to
frustrating.
being active or what have you, and now with your arm and you can't do curls or push-ups or whatever.
It's just
like
weird. Like I don't even know. Like
it's just you're old.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
guess
like,
so. It's just it's a weird.
I don't want to work anymore. It just stops.
Just stop. Yeah.
When can we get to the future where we can just did you just clear your throat like Darth Vader guy, the chocolate rain?
I always do that. I always do that.
When can we get to the future where we can just like change out body parts? Be like, oh yeah, I need a new arm. Robot it in.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Like a cyborg. Just have different pieces. I'd love to be able to have
I don't
that.
know. Well, there's all this like research and people now using like stem cells for injuries and stuff like that. So instead of
to regrow the tissues and stuff.
Yeah, and to help, like Rogan was talking about it. He was gonna go. Shut up. Yes, I watched too much Joe Rogan. He's good. But anyways.
And introducing our next podcast, we're just going to play Rogan's podcast. And it's ours.
No, but he was talking about like how he was going to have like shoulder surgery. Sorry, no. It's a 2 S words in a row. But they injected him with these like stem cells and he's like, it's better.
So it just grows.
I guess so. I don't know.
Stem cells are the cells that could go into any kind of cells. Except for brain cells even? Or can they do brain cells though?
I don't know.
Because then why not regrow,
for like
think
Alzheimer's
of
and dementia.
Parkinson's.
Yeah. Well, I think it was in China, they cloned a monkey this week.
Oh yeah? Cloning things?
Yeah. Like that's getting close to human. I'm surprised actually.
A monkey, it's 2% difference of the genetic code.
Yeah, so it's kind of
I'm
interesting.
sure someone already is doing something.
I know. Well,
right?
Yeah.
Come on. These are the legal tests you're hearing of. You think no one's out there running illegal stuff? Or somebody's not like, obviously, if we can clone people, think of the applications and how much money could be had, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like the island, right? Like...
Yeah, the island.
The island.
Yeah, but then you have a Michael Bay spin on it and you think about it, it's like, this makes no sense whatsoever. Which
It's all guns and car crashes.
Which is no, but even the fundamental principles behind how they kept them, and it just made no sense at all. But
But
I love Michael Bay.
He's awesome.
One of my favorites. Although I will say this, like I hate the Transformers. I like the first one.
Yeah, the first one was awesome.
It wasn't awesome, but it was good because it was new. It was Transformers, and you're like so excited. Like when that first helicopter one transformed and had the
the sound
or
was
whatever. Maybe
wicked.
I don't know if I could add that in post or something. That
the
sound.
sound.
But then he made that sound, and it's transformed. It was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then even at the opening scenes when the Paramount stars were flying in, it was all like that transformer noise.
It was
that was so cool because it was just a new
it was all new
audio visual experience. And then all the other movies, like I can't even watch them because it's just
the second one was,
I can't follow what's going on screen. There's so much action. It's like robots just rolling around. I'm like, who's doing what? And it's like, I don't know. And there's like 6 of them now, 5, 6.
It's way too many.
But they make money, right? And that's what Hollywood's all about.
Yep.
AKA The Last Jedi. Let's talk about that again, shall we?
Please,
we're not pissed
can
off
we
enough.
just not? That's all I heard about for like a month.
Cloning, yeah. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about cloning. We're talking about how our week was. Now we're talking about cloning.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
How quickly this thing goes off. Whoa, geez.
Easy now. Watch that water. I think we're going to have to cut you off. You off. Anyways. All right. So do you want to know what we're talking about this week? Or do you have anything else to say?
Do I have anything more to add? Not for that particular segment. Oh, you got that finally? Not for that particular segment of what did you do this week?
Okay.
No. What's up? What's on tap for us today? What's our main topic of conversation? Right. Or I don't know. Take it away. You just take it away.
All right. So this came up on my Facebook feed this week.
Oh, you're still doing Facebook? Oh, so 2005.
Says the guy that's never had Facebook and
why would I want Facebook?
Anyways, so it came up on my Facebook feed. So I don't know how recent this article is. I'm assuming it's pretty recent, but for some reason I couldn't find a date on it. But it's a Maclean's article about regretful mothers and how they say they regret having their kids and how it's basically obviously there's going to be some strong feelings and criticism towards mothers that say this, right? Just because that's a pretty big thing to say, that you regret having your kids.
Yeah. I have a few things that I could say already, but I think I need more context in what the story and what people are saying
basically they're calling it like the last parenting taboo. And
there's so many of them.
I know.
The last. Because we've got parenting is so perfect now that we've gotten rid of all the taboos.
But basically the whole kind of point is that I guess there's been a couple of books written about like, having kids can suck, or just coming out and saying having kids sucks and I regret having kids. There was a couple of books. There's apparently like a couple of like Facebook groups as well where people talk about how they regret having their kids. And the whole point is that the people that do speak out in the public sphere, in the public forum, they're obviously like heavily criticized, and they're called selfish and unnatural and abusive moms, even though they're just kind of speaking how they are. And then there's also this childless by choice movement. I don't know if you've heard. Anyway, it's a thing. Why there's a movement.
You don't have to move anywhere. It's just that's like because I think makes no sense. Well, I'm starting to get triggered already.
See, but the thing is,
I'm just gonna let you talk because there's a few things that I want to say already.
The thing is, for men though, men are not usually pressured to have kids. It's usually women. Oh, when are you guys gonna have kids?
No, it's because
we should start thinking because for women it's there's a
biological thing going there.
Yeah, but anyway, so expressing maternal regret and then this childless by choice movement, people see it as like an affront to the sanctity of motherhood. They think it's this like big holy grail, and people believe that maternal instinct is something that's innate in all women, and everyone should just want to be a mother. And so people that are criticizing it, that's kind of one of the reasons.
Like every male needs to be like an alpha male.
Yeah. But then
society is like groups of social structures of animals. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't have every single person.
Well, exactly. But so then I guess then the mothers that are coming out and saying this are having to clarify, which I think you kind of do have to clarify. They're saying it's not their children that they regret. It's just they feel oppressed by like this constant sense of responsibility. All right. Right?
So I'm going to chime in with a few things
There's
here.
a bunch of other stuff too, but that's the gist of it.
Let's take this one step at a time. Okay. Number one, I doubt these people are coming out and saying, first of all, I'll say that this whole article, I think, is just a big clickbait kind of thing because that title is ridiculous. Because I highly doubt that these people are going on and saying that they regret every single thing that has happened, that they hate their kids or that they wish they didn't have them. As in, like, I regret everything and everything is terrible about them and they're awful people and they're just publicly bashing their children for being who they are. Like, I highly doubt
they're not bashing their no.
But when you read that, there's no context to that. Like, I regret. Like, what do you regret? Like, did your child grow up to be a serial killer and kill people, and you regret that, or do you just regret it because you think of how your life was, and then through choices that you've made, you've decided that you were going to put these things aside to become this mother that you thought you had to be. And that type of regret has nothing to do, like, you can't blame anybody, but yourself for dropping who you are and who you wanted to be just because you had.
But there's no blame.
Had kids.
There's no blame. It's just expressing that they regret having kids.
Yeah, but why? Why do you regret having kids?
Okay.
It's probably because you couldn't do the things that you wanted to do.
Okay, so I hear you.
Isn't that what regret is?
That's part of it. But then the other thing is I think motherhood and parenthood is sold as the best thing on earth. You'll love your kids. It'll change your life. It's the best thing ever. And it's painted as this big rosy picture. No one tells you you're going to be tired for 3 years. You're not going to sleep for like 3 years. People aren't very honest about how difficult it is. So
I see what you're saying.
It's hard to know what you're getting into sometimes.
I don't know.
And every kid is different too.
I see what you're saying, but I completely disagree with that because I knew that being a parent and raising kids would be the biggest pain in the ass because I could have been a pain in the ass as a kid. And I'm like, oh, could you imagine trying to no one has ever painted me a picture of like, oh, you have kids, it's going to be the easiest thing in the world. And oh, it's going to be sunshine and rainbow. Like, who says this? Who are these people you're saying that are painting these rosy pictures?
Know. The media, other parents sometimes.
If you're in a bubble and you don't like.
Yeah, I think for me,
putting this out there, I don't know.
For me, the biggest thing that I can say is that when we had Tristan, the biggest shock to me was and I read all the baby books, but I had no idea like how often he would be up and how much sleep I was not going to get. That was like the biggest shock of my life was that.
It's interesting
and
because
no one tells you that. Like no one tells you that.
So like for me, when I told people found out they were gonna have a baby, and like for example, I play with my hockey buddies. They're older guys or whatever, just from the university, and every single one of them was like, well, okay, well, I guess you're not going to be sleeping in the next 5 years or whatever. And everyone says this. And this is what everyone was saying. So I don't know who are these people that are sugarcoating it.
I think
everyone was like, this is going to be hell. Like, what are you doing? This is as stupid as this is. No,
but I think men are different, right? That's not how women who I told talk to me. Everybody's just like, oh, it's the best thing ever. And it was all like happy, happy, joy, joy. Like there was not a lot of
this
like.
This is the thing though. But when you talk to other people, do you say like, oh, is that what you want to tell your friend who's having a baby? Is like, oh, this is going to be the worst 3 years of your life. Get ready. Because is it really? It's like, yeah, you can't sleep or whatever, but was it really that bad? I've had worse with other things. I don't know, right?
Of course. Yeah.
I think there's always a happy medium. It's like, it's not as bad as everyone says, and it's not as good as everyone says, depending on the people. But some people like it. Some people enjoy it. It depends on the person, depends on who you are.
Yeah.
depends on what you want out of life. I mean, some
No, for
people don't really
sure.
want to have kids. They have the kid, and then like
Well, yeah.
3 weeks later, they're back at work, and
Well, yeah, no,
and
of
that's
course.
that's their choice, and that's their choice, right? But I don't know. I think people talking about regret and putting it out like that, it's I hear that, and again, I didn't read these articles. This is the first I've ever heard of it, but I just see it as in people are saying or are thinking that I wanted to be a certain place in my life, but then I had my kids, and then like here I am 20 years later, and I'm like, what just happened in the past 20 years? I like had to put myself on hold to become super mom, and I take care of this person, and then I have to take care of everybody else, and then you leave yourself on the sidelines, and then it's like your life has gone by. And if you're going to say I regret that because of that, fine. But I also say that it's your fault because you don't have to be like that. You make decisions.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard. And people argue. People say like, oh, you don't have a choice. You have a choice. There are so many, there are choices you can make. Yes, there are instances where like, if you're very poor and you're dealing with, severe disabilities or whatever, your choice maybe it's not like you have the greatest choice, right? But like, I'm just saying there's choices that you can make, and there's even choices you can make before you decide to have kids. Like I've heard of people, like some men, like I know I don't want to have kids. They get vasectomies when they're 20 years old.
Of course. I worked with a girl, and she knew she didn't want to have kids. She just didn't want to. And she wanted to go and get her tubes tied when she was 20.
Yeah.
And the doctor, they wouldn't do it because they're like, no, you're going to change your mind. Well, so I'm not going to do it. She
probably could find a doctor that could do it.
Well, yeah. She was 30 and she finally got it done.
30?
Yeah, I know.
That's ridiculous. I'm saying she'd go down to the States where they just pay someone. It's like, here, take my money.
But anyways, I'm just saying.
Some people, they just know. They're not kids people.
But I think the other thing is...
It's weird. Go ahead.
Oh, what were you going to say?
No, I'm just saying, I would need to read these articles. I think the way that news is structured these days too, it's all about getting clicks, especially if you're reading an article online. It's like, mothers regret. It's like, it can mean so many different things, right?
No, and I mean, like that's just, I'm just starting, like that's just like the first kind of stuff. Like there's a bunch of other points to get to here.
Because it's not like, do you regret your actual child? Do you not like do you hate your kids? Like,
and I'm sure there are some people that feel that way, right? Like, I'm sure there are some people.
Okay, but then what do you want me to do? Go out and shout that you hate your kids. That's just stupid. But go ahead.
Yeah, well,
there's kids that'll shout out, "I hate my parents." Like, what are you gonna do?
But then I think the other thing that they bring up, which I don't think could necessarily lead to regret, but motherhood now and being a mother now, it's really, especially with social media, it's like, number one, you compare yourself and your kids to everybody else's kids, which is like literally the worst thing you can do.
But the thing is you can't compare it on social media because social media is not real.
Well, yes,
people will take the best of everything and fake it.
Yes, but this is the problem with social media: is not everyone is as self-aware, right? And they don't know all this stuff, and so they're
doesn't everybody know that it's not real?
No, Doom. People
think that that's how people's lives look like.
That's what their lives are.
No, it's not. People aren't that stupid.
Oh, Doom. Yes, they are. Yeah, they are, actually. So,
what about our listeners are listening right now?
No.
Are you saying they're stupid?
No.
Not you guys. Of course not.
Of course not.
You're listening to this podcast.
But
you're smarter already.
So, and then it's also like, you have, some people have horrible, like, mothers and mothers-in-law where every judgment or every decision that the mom makes is, like, crazy scrutinized. So it becomes really hard to be a mom.
So you got to get these people out of your life. I don't know. That's different. I guess that goes back to the choices you make as an individual. Are you going to let that negativity in your life? Or are you going to get it out?
Of course.
And if social media is driving you crazy, then just unplug. Don't be part of it. And sorry, I know it's more complicated than this, but I'm just like, because I get it. Oh, social media, the pressure makes everyone look pretty. You want to compare yourself to everybody else. And I'm just like, just shut it off. Just don't listen to what everyone says. Do your thing.
And so then, going along with that as well is like, especially when we had Tristan, there was like forums that I would that I belong to, because it was the one even before when we were married. I belonged to this forum, and I would go on it all the time, and but then there becomes like this like crazy like online bullying almost, right? Like if you choose to bottle feed and not breastfeed, watch out, because people are going to attack you,
or vice versa.
And even then you have like, mommy blogs now, and there's this whole mommy wars things, and it pits women against other women. I know, but it's a thing, right? It pits women against other women, and they're fighting over like...
Women are vicious, eh?
Women are really vicious, right? And so I think that's...
Guys will just fight it out and then maybe have some beers after.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, women, no. It's like then you're like my
life.
enemy till death. Yeah, like it's hardcore. So I think like that's part of it too, right? You didn't breastfeed, so you're obviously that causes every single problem you have with your kids, right? Like, but that's just...
It's like society now is everyone's so opinionated, and it's not even just about having an opinion that's different from somebody else. It's that you're right about everything, that you believe that every single thing that you think is correct.
Yep.
And therefore, you just have to impose it on everybody else because it's the right way. And if you're not thinking my way, you're crazy, you're stupid, you marginalize them, you attack them, make them feel like idiots, and discredit them, whatever. And then then it's easier to sleep at night because you just mark them as idiots or whatever. And then you're justified into calling them names, bullying them, or what have you. Because these moms that are speaking out against them, let them speak out. You're saying they're probably getting bullied or tarnished. It's like they're talking about regret, and if that's what they feel regret. That's their right to feel that, and I can't say that they're wrong or right about how they feel. Well, obviously they're right because that's how they feel. They're saying it, so they're not wrong. That's how they feel.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't agree with it. Maybe I do. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But I'm not going to go yell at them. I'm not going to go start judging them I'll judge them if, I don't know, like, if their kid's like I said, if the kid's like a serial killer or whatever, they're like, I love my baby. He's the best kid in the world. And I'm like, okay, you're kind of crazy to think that they're the best kid. Are they the best kid in the world?
It's really...
You can still love them, but are they the best?
It's really...
I'm just saying. Then I'll just be like, okay, well, I think you're wrong there. But like, whatever. That's their right to think how they want to. When you start trying to take something that I believe is wrong and impose it on other people to perpetuate things, like as an example, when you try to teach things that aren't science and bring it into the science class and pass it on as science, like say you're doing a creationism stuff in biology class, it's not going to fly. And you can't do that. And then I'm going to speak up. And I'm going to be like, hey, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but that's not science.
That's not science.
It's not what's reality. This isn't what's happening.
Yeah.
So don't teach it as such. And don't think that it's something that it's not, and don't bring it here because then I'll speak out with that kind of stuff, right?
Of course.
So, but this kind of stuff, this is opinion stuff, and I don't know. Everyone's so damn sensitive these days. You can't say anything without triggering people. Blah blah blah. And you gotta call me this name, or I'm gonna get offended. You're personally hurting me. I don't know. It feels like everything. It doesn't matter what topic you're talking about. It always comes down to like, you have an opinion, you state it, and somebody somewhere is offended by you just having an opinion, and you have to retract or whatever because that other person got offended. It's just like, it just makes no sense.
Well, no.
It's frustrating.
So two things. The first one, like, I guess for me, when I first read the first couple paragraphs, I'm just like, my initial reaction to hearing that a mother could possibly regret having her children was like one of like revulsion, because for me it's like, our kids are my life, whether that's good or bad, I don't care, but that's how I feel. I love them.
Well, yeah, but if it was bad, then you could say like,
some people would say, well, they shouldn't be your life. You should have this and this outside of your kids. And I do, but they are the focus, right?
It's how you say it. It's how you're,
of course it is.
This is how you're structuring sentence. This is
you have to be
the
so careful
limitations with the English language. It's like, okay, yes, they're my world, but
I am a person outside of being a mother.
Just like my home is Earth, but it's like, it doesn't mean I'm on every part of Earth all at the same time, right? So it's just the same kind of thing.
Of course. But I guess like for me, it's like my first kind of reaction was out of revulsion, and that's not like you have to. What's the word?
Who cares?
You have to, yeah, and that's fine.
That's
but
someone else's opinion in their
someone
life.
else's opinion,
Fine.
but the thing is like instead of like having that like immediate, I had to check myself because I'm just like, okay,
It's not for you.
It's don't get crazy offended here because that's just someone else's opinion and that's their
you
experience
didn't-
and their experience is their own and that's their
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, hopefully you didn't get offended. Maybe,
of course
maybe
not.
you just don't know. Like again,
It was
don't agree
really,
with it.
it was a really long article and I read it twice and I made notes and everything so we could do it. So
Yeah.
obviously, you know, like I didn't stop reading it because I was offended and I wanted to know more because to hear, and
No,
because
like I said, you didn't get offended, were you?
no, of course not.
But you just didn't agree with it.
But no, but I'm just like saying like that the initial like
Yeah.
reaction to hearing a mom say that was like shock and like
But
really? But then you want to read more and find out like that's a really polarizing thing to say. Why are you saying it? And why are you coming out?
Could just be
to
the
say
spark
it,
of conversation, right?
Could be.
Again, that could just be like some people say things I think that they know are extreme just to get people talking.
Yeah.
As
yeah.
our good buddy Lawrence Krauss said, he goes on and he says, what does he say again? It was like, oh yeah, I think teaching creationism is child abuse, right?
Yeah,
like
he just says stuff to get it riled up. Yeah, of course.
I think it's a physical thing, but he has his points of saying like you're
does.
teaching them to believe in something that's not true and it's going to harm them in the future to believe this kind of stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's to get the conversation started, right?
yeah.
Like it's to get people talking about it. And that's, I think, what this is too. It's like the headline, "Mother regrets all her
but
3
then-
children."
But then I think
you got to dig deeper.
But then, yeah, and then I think for me, and that's why I kept reading, right? Because I'm like, well, what is it? And then I think for me, the kind of takeaway from the article was that you have to honor what people are saying and what they're feeling, and you have to let them say it. Free speech is so important. You can't stifle it because what happened in the past is that moms were not able to speak openly and honestly about things like the baby blues. That's what they called it, like back in the 50s, the baby blues. And when it's actually postpartum depression, it's a clinical diagnosis. And so many mothers, you know, you can have the extreme example of the Andrea Yates, who she drove her car with her 4 kids into a lake and they drowned because she
crazy.
had postpartum depression. And that's she's not the only mom that's killed her kids because of postpartum depression. But the point is you stifle those emotions, you don't let people speak about them, then you can't do anything to help those people, right? Like,
that's
and potentially save lives.
This is another angle
right? Like,
of what you're saying is just don't
so that's what I'm saying.
Don't jump on people for saying something.
For
because
having an opinion, because they need to come out and talk about it, right?
These aren't opinion pieces. These are their actual feelings.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think that was kind of the takeaway for me. But then the other thing I wanted to say was they did actually, they talked a little bit about one of the mums of one of the Columbine shooters.
So is that the Michael Moore?
Yeah, the Michael Moore. Yeah.
There's been so many, but just
this was like
a school shooting.
Yeah, but that was like not the first, obviously, but like one of like the really big one.
So it's like 20 something.
I don't know. It was like but it was like the 2 boys. They walked into the school with all kinds of guns and just opened fire, and so it was one of the moms, and then they killed each other, or either killed themselves. I'm not sure.
Yeah, on April 20th, 1999. 99 explosive devices.
Yeah, like it was pretty.
The purpose: 2 students. Yeah, murdered 12 students, 1 teacher, and injured 21 people.
Yeah, it was just one of the
3
first.
more were injured while attempting to escape the school.
It was like one of the first like really big ones I remember. Like coming out on the news,
well,
right?
That's because
like
we were
19.
Well, that's when we just would have right before university. Actually.
Yeah. And so
Class 99 represent. Llewellyn Park.
What? Lord Dorchester.
That sounds terrible.
It does actually.
Crappy.
It's so bad.
Lord Dorchester.
No, but anyways, so one of the mums, she actually wrote a book about it, and then she gave it. I don't know if it was a TED.
Sorry, one of the Columbine.
One of the shooters' moms.
Well, okay, sorry. You said 2 moms.
There was two shooters.
Yes.
Two shooters.
You said both of their moms committed suicide?
One of the moms
Of
one of the kids came forward. Well, she wrote a book, and then she also gave a TED talk about like suicide and depression and like knowing the signs and everything because
she obviously went into depression after it
no,
happened?
because apparently, because both the boys, the shooters, committed suicide after they killed everybody.
Yeah, but that's not depression. That's just like, oh, I'm going to get caught.
No.
My life is over, so I'm going to...
No. It was before the police were even really called. They killed people and then they shot themselves.
But it's because why wait? Because
But it wasn't
the point.
The point, right? Like it was depression. So she talks a lot about like depression, like knowing the signs, and like she talks a lot about like her experience. So
she missed signs maybe of her son.
She didn't know anything, right? And so she
Because,
obviously
you don't talk about it.
So obviously she feels like an intense amount of guilt, right? How could you not, right? How could you not feel
everything's so easy in
partially
hindsight.
responsible? Well, of course. But anyways, I'm just saying, like and even she said like she doesn't regret having her son, even though he did this horrible thing. But it's just, different people,
you regret different aspects of it.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure she regrets not having a conversation or not, being more present or aware of what's happening, right? Who knows? Like,
well, maybe she was. She just didn't pick up on it because you're not a psychiatrist. You just might not know, right?
Yeah, of course.
Thinking maybe he's just a quieter kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so, but what was interesting is it was just like a different, very different perspective to take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
something a little more light to talk about. Jeez, some heavy lifting over here.
I know. Well, I thought it was good. Can I?
No, it's good, but it's like I'm all sad now.
Can I do two more points of this article that I thought were important?
Let's keep going.
Okay, so the other point that they bring up, which I was kind of trying to get to, is that.
What, did I stop you?
No.
You so rudely interrupted me.
No, because we got onto another path, but what it also highlights, I think, is I'm going to use some big words here. Are you ready?
I don't like big words.
Okay. It highlights...
It offends me. Because I don't understand it. I'm treated as disrespect.
It highlights gender asymmetry in parenting.
Get out of my house. Don't start bringing that crap into here. What are you talking about? Okay, sorry. No.
So...
What are you saying? Restart?
It highlights...
What's it?
The article and about moms being attacked for feeling regretful about being moms. Yes. It highlights gender asymmetry in parenting because studies...
Asymmetry, because it's different.
Yes.
You can rag on the mom, but where's the dad in all this?
Well, not only that, but the mom... And studies have shown this. The mom usually burdens...
What are these studies you keep referring to? I want citations.
They're in the article, but anyways.
Here we go. Let's do Google research.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's the mom. Even if she works outside of the home, the mom is doing most of the caregiving rather than the dad, which is just how...
Sorry, in general or...
Yeah, in general.
Okay, but not in every case. Sometimes the wife goes to work and the husband stays home. Stay-at-home dads.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in most cases, it's the mother. Even if she works outside the home, even if they both have full-time jobs, it's usually the mother. That it's not an equal split for most part, right?
I don't know, but yeah, okay.
Yes,
I'll agree
for the most part it is.
For now.
So then...
But I don't like making generalizations because every case is different.
It's based on studies, and of course, it's based on studies. But I'm just saying. So that's why most people get upset with a mom and can't believe a mom would say that. Whereas if a dad would say it, I regret having kids. It's not.
But then maybe our dad's even saying this. Like, are they going out and doing...
Some dads are. Well, I mean, even you can. They gave a really good example, and this example is really true. A mom's late to pick up her kid from daycare, and they're like, "Oh my God, how could she possibly be late? She's so selfish. She's not thinking about the kids."
Who says this?
This is how people think. I'm telling you, I've heard
then
other moms talk like this.
Then there must just be other females then. Because it comes to guys like, oh, yeah, Tim's not here to pick up his kid. Oh, he doesn't care. He's selfish.
So, but then if it's a dad that, is late to pick up the kid, he's given a lot more leeway. Like, oh, poor guy, he's running late. Like, traffic must have been killer or whatever, right? He's always given more leeway. Like, that's how it is.
Well, I guess you can throw in, like, with this kind of stuff, you can throw in, like, the statistics, this is what people think or whatever, but I can't see it because I don't think that way. And when you make a decision, for me, it's like, I don't care what gender you are. Like, if you're late to pick up a kid, like, my thought process isn't like, okay, well, what gender are you? Oh, okay, you're this gender? Well, then this is the reason why I'm going to.
But that's not how people think.
But this is what you're saying, though.
I'm saying it's not conscious. They're not saying it's a female, so she needs to be more responsible for the kid. But it's just an innate because we think of men and women differently. We think of mothers and fathers differently.
But I'm saying
that's
I don't.
The point. Well, you don't. Well, you are an anomaly. You're an anomaly. People are very judgmental, and you're not judgmental. You are the least judgmental person I know.
It's not about judging. It is about judging. It's about using the information that you have and making reasonable conclusions by what you observe in your environment. You can't just go assume shit.
But people do. People are way more emotional than you are.
It's not about being emotional. It's about being logical, I guess.
People are, and that's the point, is people are not logical, right? Like, they assign these, like, you know.
But then why? But then you pull it out as fact. And you let your own bias, like you said, oh, well, they're late, oh, therefore they must be a bad mom or whatever. It's like, when did your little, what you think might happen become fact, and that's what? You know, because you're projecting that on the other person. Because you're saying, oh, that woman's a bad mother because she's late. Because, oh, I know, Susan, oh, she's out there not thinking about her kids because she's always nagging at them. Oh, I know what she's doing. Oh, you know what I mean? And then you think about that and you project it. And then what you're saying, they start to believe it. Then it's fact. Then that's how you perceive that person as fact. But yet you have no evidence on that. Like, you don't know what they were. Like, they could have got a flat tire. You don't know. That doesn't make. I don't know. I don't understand it.
You don't. But my whole point is mothers are judged way more harshly than fathers are. They are.
Okay.
Okay. So
in general, sure.
So another example is, we made a joint decision. It was a joint decision about whether or not to breastfeed the kids. That was a joint decision that we made.
I thought I told you, and that was that. No, it doesn't work that way?
No.
That's what I thought.
And so
that was preconceived notions.
But it was a decision that we made together. But if it didn't work out, if we had agreed together, the breastfeeding wasn't working out, there was a problem, we tried as hard as we could, it just was not working out, we had to go to formula, the person that would have been judged for going to formula is me, not you, because I'm the mother.
But who's doing this judging?
People.
Who cares?
I know nobody cares, but that's my point though, is the asymmetry around parenting. Is so the mother is usually judged more harshly than fathers.
That's their problem, making the judgments. If we talk to our friends and said, oh, it didn't work, we'll talk together. We'll tell our friends and family. Says, listen, this was a decision we both made because whatever. But at the end of the day, though, like, let's just be fair on this hypothetical example.
Yes.
If you said, I'm done with this, I don't want to breastfeed anymore, it's too hard, whatever, and I'm like, no, try harder, or we'll try this, more things, for example.
Yeah.
And you just be like, no, I'm done. It's like, I can't do anything about it. So,
well, of course you can't. Of course you can't.
So then,
but that's not part of my example.
No, but in that situation,
right?
people should be like, well, yeah, it is. Well, people should be on you,
yeah, of course,
because you were the one that quit.
Of course.
So.
But people don't ask questions. It's just an automatic judge. It's the mom to blame. It's not like oh, she doesn't have a supportive husband that's helping her out. Okay. Because the thing is,
but dad gets blamed for stuff too. Like, I don't know. Well, so this guy, his grass isn't cut. That man ain't doing his job around the house.
We're not talking about grass. We're talking about kids.
It's like, oh my God, do you know how hard it is to maintain grass? You gotta put fertilizer.
I know. How many times have you cut the grass? It's usually
I'm not talking about
always
us. I'm talking
me.
about in general. As we were talking about, studies have shown.
Studies have shown.
80% of all lawns are maintained by males.
And that's probably actually true.
There you go.
Except in this house where it's me.
Well,
I've
in this
always
house,
been the
okay.
grass cutter. Always.
But you like it. And it's not
do.
always. Not
It's
always.
most of the time. 80% of the time, it's me cutting the grass.
It's 80% of the time, 20% of the time. Which is like 50% of the time. We're equal in this household. We're all equal in here and everything.
Okay, so can I do the last point on this?
We can.
Which I think...
Did I win that last point?
You didn't.
3-0 for me so far in this conversation, in this debate.
Nope.
This debate of the sex, battle of the sexes, this has become. Sorry, I don't even know what we're talking about.
Okay.
But anyway, no, I see what you're saying, and I could see women can be judged hard, but it's because it is apparent. I mean, women, if you're raising the baby, you're having the baby, and you're breastfeeding the baby, like, if I'm not going to ask any questions, like, I'm going to be like, okay, well, the woman at the end of the day is the one that makes the decision on the breastfeeding. Yes or no. You can talk about it with your spouse, whatever, but maybe you could say majority of the time the women, I guess, is making the final decision anyways because they have no choice, right? Like,
of course.
Like, two people have a one-night stand and the girl gets pregnant, right? It's like the guy really has no say whether she's going to go through with it or not.
No, of course not.
You can't take her to court and say, like, I don't want to have this baby. You can just walk away, I guess, right? But, like, she's ultimately the one holding all the cards.
Yeah.
So,
well, and of course,
there's good reason, logically to say, like, okay, well,
and so that
there's
wasn't
a good likelihood of the woman that is making the decision because they are the ones who are making the decisions.
So it wasn't the greatest example. It was just an example of coming up with a fly, and especially because breastfeeding, because I was really like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I wasn't committed to it. You were the one that was crazy committed to it.
Well, yeah, because I didn't want you to feed them like cow milk.
No, and to be honest, like if it wasn't for your like crazy support on it, like I don't know if I would have lasted, especially with the sleeping. Like,
yeah, it was bad, but I think the whole thing with breastfeeding. You correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think once you get it and once you get the hang of it, it's just easier. It's just so much easier. So I'm like, that was my whole philosophy on raising the kids. It's like you stick with the nights of pain, cheaper, and you like get it done, and then it's done. And then it's like the potty training. It's like, all right, let's spend this week and let's do it. All right,
potty training.
Set the clock. This clock is going off every half hour for the next week, and you take them to the washroom, whatever, right?
I can't even talk about it so
But if you don't do it and commit to it, it's not going to get done.
But that's almost like, but it's the same thing with like everything with parenting. It's when they're little, you have to say no to them. They're going to scream, they're going to tantrum, but you have to say no so you don't have problems later on.
So they don't do it every single time they don't get their way.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was the same thing with weaning. Remember weaning? We've talked about this before, where it's like
that was hard.
You would try I think it was like a couple weeks of this, like, okay, put it down, like, don't get it, nose away, and then they finally do like wake up and like, all right, fine, you can here's the teat, suck all you want, and it was just to go to sleep, and then the next day, and then finally I'm just like, all right, you're clearly not gonna handle this. I'm gonna have to handle the situation. So I stayed up 2 nights in a row.
I know.
Like she's just crying. Like I cry, I pick her up, just go down, put her to bed, cry again, whatever. And it's just like, you're not getting it. And then after 2 nights, and it was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna sleep through the night now from now till for forever. I was like, okay, well, that handles that situation.
I could have breastfed that child.
She would
to college.
She'd be breastfeeding right now. Like,
probably. Tristan was all right. Tristan was not hard to wean. It was.
I think I had to intervene there too, but.
No, he was pretty. He was way easier.
But I think he was also older.
Nope, he was younger than she was. Yeah.
Anyways, the point is commit to something and get it done. And what was the point about committing to what we're talking about? The whole. I don't know. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Committing. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was like being a parent and making decisions and going with it. But what were we talking about? Talking about the parents. Parenting, the
gender asymmetry is what we're talking about.
Gender pronouns, is that what we're going that way?
Shit, no.
We'll talk about
I don't need to get into that.
Some Jordan Peterson stuff.
Oh my god. So then can I just like the last one? It's a fast one.
Do as many
so
it's a quickie?
It's a quickie.
All right, so 3-0 so far in this talk.
No.
It's good talk.
So the one thing that they do point out, which is it's a pretty good observation that I had never
There's
really
they again.
thought of before.
Mysterious they.
The writer of the article, what's her name? Do you want me to get it up?
No, it doesn't matter.
Anne Kingston is her name, anyways. But she says that it's interesting because most moms they're like complaining about being a mom and all like the hard stuff. It's always in a humorous way. And it's always when the kids are like babies or toddlers. That's all the books you see. There's books like Sippy Cups Are Not for Chardonnay. There's a book named that. And it's all like humorous of being a mom and humorous. There's another book called The 3 Martini Playdate. So again, just like talking about being a mom but of younger kids and in a humorous way and talking about like the difficulties.
So these are books for adults here.
Yeah. Okay. For adults, yeah. Okay. And so like talking about like mini kind of memoirs of being a mom of like younger kids and how it's difficult, but making it funny, right? Mm-hmm. But there's nothing really like that for older kids.
Like not books for older kids, but like for moms.
Sorry, for moms of older kids. Maybe it's talking about
maybe it's
right?
a generational thing where these parents are just coming up now. So maybe when their kids are older, then they'll start publishing these books because maybe the older parents aren't going to want to express themselves that way or put that stuff out there.
Yeah, but then I guess what they're saying too is like the problems and what we've always said, little problems, right? And so the problems become much more complex as you get older kids. I mean, you have things like eating disorders and addictions and, sex and all these like...
Sex isn't complicated.
No.
Pretty simple. The penis goes in the vagina. Maybe it is complicated. There's other things that can happen.
Okay. Anyways, but what I'm saying, and then maybe you don't really feel like you should talk about your kids in that way. So that you don't want people necessarily to know those things about your kids and know that about your kids. Like if you're writing,
that's a very good point too.
What I'm saying?
There's that privacy issue, and we've talked about with the kids. There are a couple of videos that we do here, kind of harmless videos. But it's at what point?
But at what point is it? Yeah. So then I think
exploiting your kids just to make money for a book or whatever, or a video,
but it's like
remember those parents that were doing those crazy videos that the kids look like they were crying and stuff. It's just like, you're just exploiting your kids.
But what I'm talking about is you're wanting to maybe talk about the hardships in a funny way, but it's like you don't want to come across as like uncaring, and then you don't want to, encroach on your child's privacy as well. So maybe that's another reason why there aren't that many books about it. The one example that they give where...
like that Leonard Hofstadter's mom writing about his son's, But anyways, she just wrote about his son's like sex life and whatever when he was a teenager. It's like he was like the poster boy of her book, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's funny.
Anyways,
that's The Big Bang. Reference.
But anyways, what
You've seen that show.
What they said in here that you will find really funny is that they're like, well, people are starting to kind of, in a way, things are starting to kind of turn, and people are starting to talk more about like adolescence and whatever in a funny way and like making it humorous. And the example that they give is Bad Moms. The movie.
That's the movie. That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
That's why it's like very ironic.
Would they give that as a good example?
Yeah. As an example of people like making adolescence humorous. And yeah. It's
about because the moms are adolescent?
No, because the kids that they have are adolescents. They're not babies, they're not toddlers, they're like adolescents. And so they're showing that the humorous side of being a mom of an adolescent in that movie.
That is not what that movie is about.
I know.
That's terrible. See?
I agree.
This is all from that same article?
Yeah.
Then that article is complete crap. If they're going to reference that, I'm going to say that whatever you say, whatever your opinions are, your perceptions on reality are so skewed that you think that movie is an accurate representation of how people live their lives. Hey, maybe it is for some.
It's
maybe
not. I don't think she was saying it as an accurate representation. She's just saying it's really the only type of media even I've ever seen of people like movies, books, anything of like poking fun or having fun with or being humorous with being a mom of older kids. There's really nothing else out there, right?
Oh, jeez.
Which is sad.
What about the Adventures in Babysitting?
How old is that?
That's what my whole. That's what I'm saying. It was a long time.
That's not a mom.
What about the great outdoors? Those kids were teenagers.
Yeah,
He
I
was
guess
like
that's true.
16, so
That's
he was
true.
like, it was John Candy or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Like,
true.
there's
No,
tons
that's true.
of movies.
But they're all old. Do they make any ones now? Like, what's a recent one within the last couple of years?
Oh, I guess I thought you said that they just don't make. They've never made movies like that before. I'm
I
like,
don't know, but even
there's always movies
recent.
as
Well,
kids.
Uncle Buck was a great one.
There you go. I've never seen that one, but
Oh my god! Oh, we have to watch
well,
it.
John
It's
Candy,
so
it's
good.
gonna
It's
be-
hysterical.
and like Dan Aykroyd with his twin daughters, telling them the stories.
Yeah, but
It's
anyways,
classic.
but
I can't think of. I'm just trying to think now of any movies with parents. Home Alone. That's not a good example of good parenting. It's a bad example of bad parenting.
like really bad parenting.
Oh, jeez.
But anyways, I just thought it was like
Stand by Me.
that's not mom. That's not a mom,
there's
right?
kids in there.
Just kids. It's not a mom.
I don't know.
It's different. You need the mom. The whole point is the mom perspective, right? That's the whole point of it. So
Still Alice.
no.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't know. That's the mom's perspective.
what
Kids.
I just thought it was I read it. I thought it was a really interesting article. Didn't really agree with a whole lot of it. I thought a lot of it, like you, was a bit of clickbait. And I just thought if you feel like you need to voice your opinion, like to the world about this, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have that need. I guess I don't have a lot of friends. I have a few really close friends that I'm able to sound off about stuff, and I don't need to proclaim things.
No.
You know,
if
like
we have like, obviously we're doing this podcast or we're doing a blog post or whatever. You just talk about things and talk about things in general.
Well, just talk about things that are hard and like for sure. But I mean, I don't.
giving
But I think
specific, you know, like personal, private things that happen to the kids that stay private. You know, that's our business and nobody else's business.
of course.
But yeah, voicing our opinions and just talking about issues in general, like that's fine.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. People have their own thoughts and ideas, and if they want to say it, then fine. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go say things that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I would too, though, because it's if I think it needs to be said, because I think we need to have a conversation around something. Sure, I'll say it, and maybe what these parents do say, because maybe they're saying like, oh, I don't regret everything, but like. Everyone has regrets. People have regrets. I could say like, oh, I regret such and such of my life or whatever.
But
and
saying
you can say
you
that.
regret a child is
That's what I'm saying.
big thing to say.
But they're saying that. But you can say like, I regret when I had my children, or I can regret I was too young, or I was too old, or like, if I could do it all over again, I would do so many things different. So you can. There's a lot of, you know.
Of course.
But
of course.
you're not going to get anybody talking about that or that article or that speech, whatever, is not going to get any traction. We're like, oh, I regret this decision I made when I had my kid. It's like, yeah, who cares? Everyone's like, yeah, everyone has regrets. But if you come out and say like, I regret this, then people get triggered and blah, 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 and we're talking about it. And we're talking about it now, right?
Yeah.
So mission accomplished article, you know, like.
But I guess like a couple other things is like, there's a couple books, again, I forget the name of the books, that came out talking about like regretting children. I forget what the names were, but they were like good names of the books. It was like No Kids, 40 Good Reasons Not to Have Children. And then like magazines like Mary Claire and Today's Parents, they've all done like a lot of different articles, like 100 women, parents who regret having children, inside the growing movement of women who wish they never had kids. So articles like that, like regretting motherhood, like a bunch of different books and articles, right, are starting to come out now. Which I think, there's
too many people on this planet, anyways. Maybe people should calm down and stop having this.
I think like books that come out like that.
One less idiot I need on the street cutting me off in traffic. You know, we don't need that guy.
So the point is I think articles and books that come out like this, they're highly criticized. However, I think they're important because there are people that are going to feel that way, that want to read it so they don't feel isolated and like they're the only person, right? Like,
but who goes around ridiculing somebody for, like, you won't even know, right? Like, You don't go down people down the street. Do you have kids? You don't? Why not?
Well, no,
You're a terrible person.
not that. But I'm just saying, like people who, like authors that wrote some of those books, like they got death threats.
People are
People are fucking crazy. They're crazy.
They're too wrapped up in their own little self-absorbed thoughts of grandeur. I don't know.
So then, like the last part of that too is then they're trying to do studies on this whole thing of why, women regret it, and women are really, they don't come out and talk about it because they don't want to be criticized and everything like that, right? So it's hard to get any like solid data on the hows and whys, right? So
even dads too. Why would anybody want to come on and say it?
Or why do dads
say like, I regret getting married? Some people do the same thing on that.
There's some dads that they leave with nothing. They just no explanation. They just do a Fresh Prince's dad. He just leaves, right?
He's a real person. Let's use that as an example.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't have those dads probably coming forward and talking about why they just left, because I'm sure they feel probably pretty ashamed and shameful about it, right? That's a horrible thing to do.
They just don't want a kid. They don't want. A father leaving like that is the same reason why a mother would say, I regret having kids, because they just don't want that. They don't want to be tied down. They want to have their freedom, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you have a kid, it's like, oh, okay, well,
I'm gone.
There goes all my plans, right?
Yeah,
then you readjust. That's another story.
For sure. But anyways, so that's why I really found it. I found it like really interesting article.
Interesting point of
interesting article.
Conversation.
Interesting conversation. So yeah. So anyways, so I'm done.
So 4 points for me, I think. That's good.
No.
It's good talk.
No.
It's not about winning and losing. That's about it.
There's no winning or losing. There's no winning or losing here.
That's what I said. I said it's not about that.
Okay. All right. Anyways. Anything else to add? I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
All right. No, I think
nothing for you? You're good?
That's it. I don't know. Yeah, it's...
Cool.
I'm tired. I'm really tired today.
Yeah?
I know. I didn't sleep well last night at all. I only got like 5 hours of sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
I slept really good last night.
I couldn't fall asleep.
I hate when that happens.
It happens. And then I couldn't get back to sleep. Someone was crawling around on my side of the bed there this morning.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I wasn't crawling around.
Where's my phone? It's over there.
Oh, it's running on your side. Oh, yeah. I was looking for my phone.
Yeah. Your phone.
Well, because I need a flashlight to get my clothes.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I didn't realize you could.
But your phone is always on your side. That's how it is.
You need to put it on the ledge. Put it on the ledge, not on the end table.
Not on the end table where things like that go. Okay, makes sense.
I always put it on the ledge. If it's on the ledge, then I think that it's on your side.
Always ready to one step on the ledge, eh? Just ready.
What?
It was just a reference of always just being ready to go over the ledge. You don't get it.
I do, but it wasn't funny.
You know what? Screw you. And that's that.
All right.
Chris
by 5?
Oh, God. Fine. You had to concentrate to make sure you hit it that time, didn't you?
Totally did.
All right. Well, hey. We won't mention that anymore.
All right. So until next week.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Enjoy yourself.
Make it count.
I guess so. Interesting. Nice. I like it. See you next time.